Hello, welcome back to the Mr. Arsenal podcast for basically another podcast. Basically, literally 48 hours before the season starts now. As you can see, I'm joined by Lee Justice. How you doing, Lee?
Yeah, not too bad, Ryan. You okay?
Arsenal aside, yeah, all things Arsenal aside.
Arsenal side, yeah, Arsenal side, like, yeah, you know, so not been the most positive transfer window, but plenty of time left yet, like, you know, plenty of time.
Oh dear. We'll get onto the transfer window stuff in a sec because obviously there's been a bit of development news concerning two potential signings today. Obviously, we know, and obviously the Joe Willock situation doesn't know. We don't know what's going on there. In sense of because apparently, you know, we've agreed a fee. Newcastle are way off apparently with the personal terms with what Joe Willock is after apparently. So there's a bit, there's a delay there. It'll just be our luck, wouldn't it? even though I'm here saying obviously only goal scorer we've got from midfield, they score goals from coming into the box and all that. Obviously, the only asset we can use in midfield to get in, with all due respect, an upgrade in that position. The irony.
Yeah. You know, as much as I like Joe Willock, and I do like Joe Willock, I'll be honest, he's not quite what we need, and I think that we need to cash in him really. And if I'll be honest, if you don't get personal terms, don't agree personal terms, well, you know, I don't know what's going to happen there. Really, that's a bit of a worry. You know, Newcastle really want him, then they're pushed the boat out for him, won't they? That's how I see it. So let's see what happens. I think it'll be an interesting one, really, if I'll be honest.
Well, considering they're also after Rob Holding apparently as well, that's going to be interesting because they need to get, in my opinion, they need to get both one over the Joe over the line to convince Rob that that's a place to go. Really, make it easier for them.
Yeah, Newcastle's a big club, Ryan. You know what I mean? So.
Oh yeah, that is it. There's not getting twisted, but from where they once were, from when we were like 2000s.
I still think like you know, out of the top six, I think that. I think Newcastle's still a good team to go to, a big club, well supported. And they wanted Rob Holding last year, so maybe like you know, I think it'd be a good deal for Rob Holding as well. You know,
we've got really
that can cover that role with Ben White. I think it'd be a good move for both. And if we can get 20-odd million for Rob Holding as well as 25 million for Willock, then we can start looking at maybe buying a midfield player that we need. But we'll have to wait and see. Don't tell me that Arsenal ain't got any money when they're prepared to spend $1 million on a goal. So they've got money. Otherwise, our club's being run by fools.
Well, that's the thing. That's the biggest myth that I've heard for the last 3-4 years on like Sky and all that. We have no money. We have to sell to buy. No, we don't have to sell. It's just like we've got an owner that doesn't have a clue what he's doing. He hires people that don't have a clue what they're doing. I mean, we've got we've got Edu, who's a rookie in his position. When really I've been saying for over a year, Mark Overmars is the obvious one to go for. Let's be honest. He's experienced. He knows what he's doing. He's learned his trade. He knows everything you need to know in that role. And he bleeds again. He bleeds Arsenal because he's got that connection with the fan base already.
Yeah, you know. Listen, I think. If I'll be honest, I look at it and I think that, listen, Arsenal have spent money. Whether it's the owner's money or not, that's immaterial. They have spent money. The worst thing about it is the way it's been spent. And again, it's not being spent properly this time around. You know what I mean? 2 years ago, it wasn't spent properly on Pepe. We didn't need Pepe at the time. You know what I mean? We spent, but we need midfield players now. And you know, we haven't got them. Now, where it becomes a problem, and I think that the problem has been the slow process, is that we haven't been able to get rid of players. We haven't been able to get players out the door. You know, ideally what you want to do is have 3 or 4 in, but we had to get these players out. And, you know, we're finding it very, very difficult. And the trouble is, Ryan, is that even like clubs like Newcastle can't agree with Willock, who's really an academy player, shouldn't be on massive amounts of money. And so it just shows you how much Arsenal sort of paying these players. You know what I mean? If they can't agree personal terms for another club, and you know,
Well,
that's
that's been an issue going on for years, though, Lee. Literally, El Neni was basically on the verge of being sold last summer, and it was it Besiktas? Oh, I can't remember the fucking name now, but to Turkey. But literally last minute, personal terms. It's always been the personal terms because we either hold on from too long and reward the mediocrity of these players and give them bigger contracts, or we hold on too long anyway, and no one wants them. And we've got.
Yeah, I agree.
We're having and Stan, instead of investing his own money to get rid of players, buy out these players' contracts, he's going to the Bank of England to buy out these contracts. I mean, we're putting us in further debt.
Yeah, you know, I don't understand the transfer policy. If I'll be honest, I don't understand it. So, you know, we're supporters and just hoping that they get it right, Ryan. And at this moment in time, I don't think that they are. I don't think they are.
No, the thing is, it's not just us, the supporters that are saying it. I mean, Tony Adams numerous times has said on numerous platforms, recruitment has been the one thing that's dragging us back. Yeah. Until that happens, until that's fixed, we won't go forward. And that's from arguably one of the most achieved player in our history. Came through the ranks, obviously won. As a captain, no one has won more than what he's won as a captain. And he bleeds Arsenal. Going that loud. This is a guy from the consortium back in the early 2000s to buy into the club and got told where to stick it basically because Wenger didn't want people on ex-Arsenal players on the board apparently or something like that. But,
well, this is the thing, you know. Listen, the club's not being run from top to bottom, you know, and that is the case. You know what I mean? It's not being managed. It's not being run properly on the pitch, as you can well quite rightly see. The hiring and firing of the club is poor. You know, you've got, I wouldn't say incompetence, but I would say you've got inexperience in a manager or a coach. You've got inexperience of a
director of football.
You know, a director of football. Yeah, if you want to go that way, you know, I'm a big Edu fan as a player, but you know,
same here.
Not good enough and not experienced enough, and it's being proven at this moment in time. You know, I think the biggest question, which as a journalist, I would ask these. I wouldn't say, you know, I would have to ask, you know, Edu and Arteta, why did you go all last season out to sign a while, and this season you've not even gone near him? Can you answer that question?
He's like half what they're asking for last year.
Well, allegedly, but like ultimately, you know, Manchester United went all out last season to get Sancho, couldn't get him, so come back this season and got him. So what's the difference? You know, why are we wasting our time for a whole season last season going for somebody like a while and then not getting him? And you know, then I still think it's diabolical situation last season with Odegaard. Why get him on loan if you knew if you knew you was never going to sign him? I don't understand that. You know what I mean? Like, unless you're waiting for the player to become available that you really did want. Well, if that's the case, why isn't he at the club now? So I just think it's know, mistake after mistake after mistake. And,
it's literally like again, we've seen it for the last few years. They sign one, but even the players they do sign, they just sit in their hands and drag it out. They drag it out until it's beyond. Us fans, we lose interest in it basically when they announce it. But it's sit in their hands. Even they drag everything. I mean, Thomas Partey, we knew the release clause. We knew every little detail in that situation last year, but they dragged it out till literally the last hour.
Well, that's typical Arsenal, isn't it? And you look at the Ramsdale one, even though whether you agree with it or not, if that's who Arteta wants and that's who Arsenal want to go for, this be basically it's Arteta who wants these players because otherwise he wouldn't be coming through the door. You know, if you want him, why is it taking 3 or 4 weeks to get him? You know, you know, in a precarious position if anything happened to Leno over these last few weeks, and you know, still could happen.
Well,
you know,
literally, you could get interested in training on a Friday night in the warm up, and we've got Van Arsen as backup. as it stands.
Exactly. You know what I mean? Exactly. You know what I mean? So, you know, and who's you blame for that? I don't blame the owners for that. I blame, you know, the incompetence of the manager, because that's what he is now, a manager, and the people that do the transfers, the recruitment, and you know, we've got not only have we got a novice manager, a novice way, we've got a novice creative midfield player in Smith Rowe. You know what I mean? Asking him to do a job there, which is far too much at this moment in time for his age and then how much experience he's got. You know, you can ask the question. You know, asking. You know, our club is being run at the moment with inexperience all over. You know, our main players are teenagers or just above. You know, in not in a 21-year-old in Smith Rowe, a 20-year-old in Saka. And you know, it's not really good. You're probably looking at Latonga now, or Lakonga, 21 novice that's coming into the Premier League to lead our midfield for the next few weeks, because he's going to have to, you know, and otherwise it's party and Shaka time, you know what I mean? And basically Shaka and party, and it ain't a party for me because party's out, so you're going to have to go with Shaka and El Neni, and that means no party, and that definitely means no bloody party, because you know these are the things that we're having for a little bit of time now, and it's disappointing. You know, I mean.
Well, sorry, we're both at the game the other week, the first game back after, what was it, 17 months, the defending against Chelsea, and we saw that. For me, I think you was up in your diamond area, as we all know.
Yeah,
with the old steak and chips and champagne, as you do. But I mean, we part, even though we got a brief, like 20, whatever it was now, 20, 25 minutes, the difference he makes to our midfield. He gets the ball, and he doesn't decide what's got to slow the game down. He gets the ball, he runs with it with tempo. There's more tempo to our midfield and everything. The second he obviously went off, he knew, obviously seeing Greenwich warm in the warm up before the game, you knew if Party goes off, he's going to come on. And again, straight away, we're back to where we were before.
Yeah.
And another thing, we're literally, this is a thing. Last year, you could sort of let them off because it's dead up the seat because of the pandemic and all that. In the sense of they'd a month between the FA Cup final and the new season starting, so they didn't have much an actual pre-season. This year we had a whole proper summer pre-season a lot, and we're not ready. We're literally 5-6 players. It's ridiculous. I've been saying for years, I want my team to be. Why can we not be ready? We used to be ready. We used to get that this is done. Literally, I mean, what was it? 2001, the summer of 2001. We got Sol Campbell in days of the window opening. Sol Campbell, Inamoto, Jeffers, Van Bronckhorst, Richards Wright. Sorry, that was all done early doors, and that was it. That was it. That was our transfer business done. Outgoings are sorted, and then match day one, we're ready, and we go on. It's like we drag it out and drag, and I'm sick of it. Why can we not be ready? What is the big problem? Why have we got to be part of this deadline day drama that this soap opera deadline day has now produced over the last few years?
Listen, I'm going to be really honest with you here, Ryan. Transfer pre-season and everything what goes with it has changed. You know, years ago, we never had access to watch pre-season. It wasn't available to you that much. Certainly not on TV. Your signings would be done early doors before the seasons. Basically your signings would be done before pre-season. So when pre-season come, all your new signings were there. And then you got to work and start to create what you was going to hopefully do for the season. That has all changed now, you know, with the transfer window being as it is. I don't really understand why they can't just say, right, the season starts on the 20th of August. That's for all Europe, and on the 19th of August, the transfer window closes. All the leagues should start and finish at the same time. They've all roughly play the same games. And until you get that in alignment, you're going to have this all the time. And for instance, Tottenham could be playing Manchester City this week, and the following weeks' time when Arsenal play, it could be a completely different look to it.
Yeah.
The same for Arsenal, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, Arsenal can play Chelsea this week, and then, you know, it can be a completely different team. So I don't think it's really that fair. I don't think it's that great at this moment in time. It unsettles a lot more, some clubs more than others. And, you know, I'm pretty sure there's a lot of clubs buying, and the ones that are having to sell because their top players are being tapped up. We can't wait for the September 1st of September, so it's sham shut, and then they can get on with their season. I don't think the season really starts in any sort of shape or form until that day, Ryan. You know, and unfortunately for Arsenal, and not just Arsenal, other teams as well, you can't give the likes of Manchester City a head start. You know, listen to what people are saying. People are saying, like, you know, we'll probably draw or win the first game against Brentford, and lose it, but ultimately, you know, more than likely that we get a point or three. Then the next two games we lose. You know, I mean, no one's backing Arsenal to beat Chelsea, and no one's backing us to beat Man City. Look, I think if we sign 4 players tomorrow, I don't think we could go to Manchester City and win. We'd have a chance, but we wouldn't win. At this minute, you know, we've got no chance. I'm not even bothering going up there. I've had enough of it. Like, you know, when you know that you're going to go 4 hours up there to know you're going to lose. And there's a point of, like, you know, trying to lose, trying to win a game. But, you know, I feel the club ain't even bothered about it, like, you know, because if they were, you know, sorting out these transfers long before this. So, you know, ultimately we'd be 6 points off of the pace of what we want to be, and we're playing catch up all the time, and can't afford to do it. I don't see Manchester City dropping more than 10, 15 points next season, if I'll be honest. If they bring in that,
yeah, especially to get Harry Kane. Jesus Christ!
Well, I know, like, you know what I mean. I think, you know, I don't think they'll lose that many games.
No, and this is why back in April when Josh Cronk, obviously the fallout of the European Super League came out, and obviously him and Vinard did that fan forum with AST and a few other fan groups, and then obviously the audio and all that came out. I never believed a word he said, because he came out and said, this summer's different, we're going to go big, we're going to a big massive overhaul, we know what needs to be done. Well, clearly bloody not, because I mean, it's been mentioned in the chat, Ed who's on holiday, he's on his 3rd holiday this transfer window. Beginning of the transfer window. I can't believe that. It's like Portugal, France and Spain in the what is it, the peak of where his job's really centered around, really. I don't have a problem with someone having a holiday, but come on. Well, and he's got his son come out defending him on social media. So, oh yeah, he's still doing his job even though he's with the family and all. There's a distraction there in the sense of he's out with his family at the same time. He's not really fully focused on the job that he's meant to be doing. But again, it all goes back to incompetence and people allowing this.
You know, what's he doing out in Spain? I don't think there's any players out there for us, is there? You know what I mean? Unless we're going to bring in a few players from Barcelona or whatever. I don't know, Ryan. You know what I mean? Like, at the end of the day, you know, he's got all, like, realistically, you know, Edu, I think, could go on holiday from September to December. Like, do you know what I mean? After this, his job's done. This once, you know, it's this month and in between. You know, let's face it. You know, come January, what the January transfer window is a waste of space for Arsenal. It was a waste again, because the 2 players that he brought in January, Odegaard and Matt Ryan on loan, are not there no more. So what was the point of that transfer window? Another wasted opportunity of us to strengthen. So, you know, there's so much wrong with Arsenal when it comes to transfers. You know what I mean? That, you know, like, other teams look at it and think, like, this is a window of opportunity to strengthen. We don't really look to do that, and I don't listen to a word Arteta says now. You know, if I'll be honest. Yeah, you know, he turned around the other week and said that Willock's a big part of our
plans. Yeah.
I mean, he's 2 weeks later he's been sold. So what? I know he has to say things like that, and that's why I don't believe a word he's saying. You know, and I'm not interested what he's got to say about Lionel Messi, or he's got interested about anything else. What I'm interested in is what you're going to do. What are you doing to improve this football club? And what I see is very little.
Well, we spent, what was it, start of this summer, obviously going into the Euros night. big news was Granit Xhaka going to Roma. It's pretty much done. Personal terms have been agreed. Everyone's happy. And now we've had a U-turn on that again. Second time under his regime, we've had an offer on the table, and at the last minute he pulls the plug on it, or someone at the club is pulling the plug, and he goes.
He obviously rates him. Right. He rates Granit Xhaka. You know, this is the thing. You know, he rates him. He doesn't rate people like Martinelli, Guendouzi, but he rates Bellerin and he rates Granit Xhaka. And the reason that he rates them is because he plays them. If you didn't rate Bellerin, why is he still playing? You know, right back. You know, 5 days before the
in the Fender, yeah, before the season starts.
And then if he doesn't play him for this next game, you know, what the hell is he playing him for in the first place? Because where you're getting your shape, your coordination, your you know, defence strategy if you're not playing the team that's going to be starting games, you know. So I don't know, you know what I mean? I know a lot of work goes down on the training ground and things like that. I get that. But ultimately, you know, we'll find out on Friday whether we're ready, and we'll find out in 3 weeks' time or 2 weeks' time, and how is it really the ambition of this football club. And I can't wait till the first of September, because I know exactly what I need to know about Arsenal Football Club, this manager, this board, and everything. And I can't wait, you know, and that's it. And I can't really judge until after
until that window closes. Yeah,
exactly. Until this window closes, really, like, yeah.
I mean, just talking on our, obviously North London. You touched on it briefly. The North London derby at the weekend. Maybe it's a friendly. I watched both, obviously the men's and the women's afterwards, and I actually enjoyed watching the women more. It's in the style. Even though there's a new manager there's a new manager at the helm. There's a style to it, though. There's no. You would think that the men's have got the new manager. The way the two teams play differently. It's completely bizarre. I mean, he's been in the job over 18 months. So we don't have a real style. I mean, people go back to Wolves at the first half at Wolves and all. I think that's. Looking back at it, really, if you look over the grand scheme of things, I think it's more so the players just thought, fuck it for that game, and played and disobeyed what Arteta was saying, because we never really see that. I mean, Lacazette against West Ham, after the West Ham game, we drew 3-3, was coming out saying we didn't listen to him. We didn't pay attention to the manager. And that's why we were 3-0 down. I think that doesn't happen over one game, that's over a period of time. Maybe they're clearly not getting a message, or they don't care anymore what he's saying. It's like it's echo in their heads.
Tough call to say that. Listen, I think there's been slight improvements in the team. We definitely like the shape, and we defend a lot better than what we.
But defensively, he's got us sorted. But I'm saying in the attacking sense, but there's no attacking. He's creating chances that would take them.
He's got us sorted to a certain extent, but not to the level that we need and require. But ultimately, there is a slight improvement there. But other than that, there isn't. I don't really go too much on what I see in the Spurs. I thought, if I'll be honest, we done all right against Spurs. It weren't it?
Oh no, I think it's the majority of that game we did play well. Let's not get it twisted. We had majority of the ball. We dictated the tempo. When it came to the final third, there was just
exactly. We fell short in the final third where it matters, and ultimately we've been saying that for I've watched 38 games like that before that this season where we fell short in the final third. But ultimately, we did okay, and you know, Song didn't really get a kick until Ben White went off, and then obviously Ben White went off. And don't forget, you know, and I'm not making excuses here, far from it, that, you know, we've got 5 days before our next game, so we was always going to make our substitutions first before they did. They got a week, so I get that, but ultimately, it's still. I still see the faults of what I've seen for 18 months under Mikel Arteta still there. And I don't want to ever hear him turn around and say these are not his players no more. Anybody trying to make that these are not his players, because I don't care. He's had an opportunity to get rid of them. If not get rid of them, Ryan, don't play them. I still see Bellerin playing. I still see Xhaka playing. I still see Kolasinac. I still see Aubameyang starting every week. I still see Lacazette. I still see El Neni playing. So don't tell me that these are not his players no more. He's decided to keep continuing to play these players. So I don't want that excuse no more. I don't even want the excuses you've turned around and said about pre-season. He's had a decent pre-season this
That's what I'm
season.
saying. That's
The American thing. Actually, it's beneficial that we didn't go to America. So I think at the end of the day, that's helped us, not hindered us. So I think from there's no excuses for this man no more. No excuses whatsoever for not getting it right. And I don't want to see mistakes being made. I don't want to see us going to teams like Brentford and even Chelsea at home and not being able to break them down because you decided that's what you want to do. Whether it's in your hands or not, you're allowed it to happen. And it falls one man's feet as far as I'm concerned, and that is the manager. And I don't want no excuses for him. I don't want to have anybody making excuses. You've had a good enough pre-season. You should be ready for this first game. I don't think that you are, Mr. Arteta, if you want my honest opinion, but you should be, and you should be ready, and let's see if you are. And if you're not, then I don't start blaming the ball, don't start blaming Kroenke, don't start blaming that. It is on Mikel Arteta's shoulders and him alone.
Yeah, 100%. Another reason I've obviously put it in the pre-season because actually we both know Amanda and Kevin Campbell. That's over on the hybrid squad. That's the one thing they sort of threw down Sophie over the course of last season was he hasn't had a pre-season. This isn't his full squad. He's like this. He's like that. So it's pre-season, as he said, the pre-season argument. He's had the whole summer now. This is like his fourth or fifth window as well since he took charge. There's no more excuses.
No,
for me.
There's no more excuses.
This what we end with in terms of the squad on the deadline day. That's it. These are players he suddenly has faith in. Even if Bellerin's still here, he's clearly got faith in him then because he's still at the club. He hasn't forced him out. He was happy. He was quick enough to force Socrates out.
He's still at the club, you know what I mean? If he comes running on the pitch, then that's the answer to Mikel Arteta. I don't care what anybody says.
This is what I'm saying because he was quick. He was quick enough to forcing out Socrates. Mesut Ozil and Mustafi in the winter, and obviously he's frozen out Saliba. He's never gave Saliba a chance. Let's be brutally honest. Apart from that MK Dons match last summer, he's never played. He's never worn an Arsenal shirt and played in an Arsenal shirt apart from that game as a senior player. And people go, "Well, he's cleaning Arteta's cup of tea." Well, he's not Arteta's cup of tea. Why we keep running him out for? Just fucking sell him. If Arteta doesn't see him in his plans, just sell the kid because you're demoralising the kid. He's gone through enough in the last 12 months, losing his parents in this pandemic. And you're obviously screwed him over last year, and now you're doing it again. I mean,
I agree. I mean, there's no defence for Arteta or anything there because, for me, we was poor up front last season. Martinelli didn't get that many chances. Martinelli is fit now, raring to go. So for me, he should be. He should be getting more games this year if he does. We're waiting to see. And there's no excuses for this man no more. And listen, I've given him excuses. I've wanted it to work, and I've seen things that maybe that it will do. But ultimately, the FA Cup was fantastic. 6 games. Now it's if you want to judge him over 6 games or this and you think that he's fantastic, well, judge him over these next 6 games and then make up your mind. Simple as that. And that's how probably you should do it. But listen, if Arsenal are in any position other than if they're in 8th, 9th or lower, come November time and that, get out of the club because you're not doing the job properly. You know what I mean? He has got to be really banging on like 4th, 5th, 6th.
He's got to be hovering around there, He's got to be at least.
And if he's not, then and by the way, 4th and 5th is probably already at that stage of the championship race anyway. So that's what will probably happen. So we'll have to wait and see. At the moment, as frustrating as it is for us, it is a waiting game for us all. We'll just have to wait and see what happens.
And obviously, we've got. So I think we've got 15 minutes before you have to go. And obviously, I've then got set up before obviously going over to Mike's podcast in a couple of hours' time to help him out on his channel. Brentford on Friday, obviously. How do you see that going? Because obviously, as we've been discussing throughout this, we're not ready. It's pretty much the same, apart from literally 2 squad players and Ben White. It's pretty much the same squad that we had back into the last season.
I haven't got a clue. Got a clue. It can go, and I know this sounds silly, it can go any way. We can go there and win comfortably, or we could go there and miss chance after chance and lose 1-0, 2-0, or whatever. I have no clue. It's just like, sit in front of the telly, or if you go into the game and see what happens. And just, after 10, 15 minutes what's going to happen. And just see what we're like. And that's all you can do. I honestly think if we're sitting there, fingers crossed, hoping that we can put in a performance. Do I think that we will? I haven't got a clue, Ryan. I'll be honest. I've not seen enough to say yet we can or not. So,
well, due to the fact
I've got to say this is the first season I can ever remember where I'm not looking forward to the season. I've got no enthusiasm for the season. I'm not looking forward to it.
No, I'm literally the same here. I'm literally dreading it.
It was a shocker of a season last season. I honestly thought that there would be more transfer activity before the start of the season than there was, if I'd be honest. I thought the areas in midfield would definitely be plugged, which they're not. And at this moment in time, I've got no interest in, well, not interest, but something's got to happen for me to really get my enthusiasm back for this football club. And obviously, I could go to the home games, but I had a chance to go to Brentford, but I did. I've decided not to go, and that's not like me, Ryan. It's not like me. I like to go, and I'm always buzzing for the first game of the season. But I've been let down so many, particularly in the first half. First game of the season on many occasions, not just under Mikel Arteta, under Arsene Wenger on at least 4, 5, 6 occasions. You come to the first game and you thought, do you know what, you're not ready. And even beyond that, I remember the 28th of August when we played Manchester United, and we got absolutely embarrassed. And, lessons should have been learned that day. Lessons still not being learned. I can tell you that now. We're in a worse state than what was on that day, and we've still not gone and bought players. So I really don't understand the logic of the transfer window.
Just obviously, we touched on. Do you think, even though we finished 8th last year, and obviously to our standards, obviously throughout the years we've become accustomed to, is piss poor. The fact we finished only 6 points off top 4. Do you think that's what's not just saved him from the board, but given it up, being that a lot of, again, similar situations we've seen years gone by in the transfer window, in the sense of being sort of hands off, sort of, okay, no worries, it ain't that bad. It was just a sign in here, sign in there.
Points that we were 6 points. We wasn't even with a chance with that.
I know, but I'm just thinking of the owner's mindset, because we know what the owners are like.
Well, I don't care what the owners' mindset is. It's nothing to do with the owners. It's the management.
But they'll allow it. But the fact that they've allowed it to continue.
Well,
that's what I'm saying. That maybe
Mikel Arteta Miles will leave with his head held high on the first day of season, on the 1st of September, if players are not brought into the club. Because I tell you what, he will be hounded. He will be by fans, the fans all the time, So for me, if you want to have that on, mate, bring it on. Because at the end of the day, I can tell you that now, they will start singing on the first game of the season, spend the effing money.
Oh, yeah, banners will be there, everything.
That will 100%. And if we're not beating Chelsea, by the time we played Man City and lost to them, come to the next home game against Norwich, Mikel Arteta goes 1-0 down in that game, he will be getting it big time himself. Because, that is how it will be. So it's up to him. You know what I mean? Get up into that ballroom or get over on a phone call, Zoom call to America and say, look, are you going to sort me out here, these midfield players that I need? Because if you don't, we are going to be in where we are now next season, I guarantee you.
Well, that goes into another thing with if or not he gets the players he wants and he gets the players in or not, whatever. If he doesn't get a good start, as you said, we've got Brentford away, Chelsea home, City away, then Norwich, Burnley down the road, and North London derby, the first 6 games. If he doesn't get off to what we class as a good start,
well, we know he's not good at Ryan.
I know, but
Right,
I'm
it's not good to a good start. But I'll tell you what, if you had those players in there and you go to Brentford and you win that game, you could actually go and beat Chelsea, who are probably not. Lukaku's not going to be as quite as fit as what he should be, and then you go to City and get a draw. That's a bloody good 3 games with all the players you've got. Like, you know what I mean? That would be a real start. That's what I call a good start. You know, not 1 point here or 4 points or whatever.
No,
you know, that's
exactly.
Doing, hit the ground running. But when have Arsenal done that, mate? When have they ever done that? You know what I mean? Like Championship, you go 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 games winning in the first 10 games. Not having 4 wins and 3 draws and whatever, you know, and that, you know, our home league, the way it is at this moment, our home record of our fortress will be gone on the first game of the season because Chelsea will come there and turn us over. You know, they've done it last week with a reserve team. I know it's only a friendly, but they did, and they're doing it again. And then you go up to Man City, and you know, I fear for that game. Anything can happen in that game. But I'll tell you what, Manchester City are vulnerable at this moment in time. They've got no striker, they've got no De Bruyne, right? Yeah, they've got Jack Grealish has come in at this moment in time, but he's got to find his feet. Not a bad time to take on Man City, if I'll be honest.
Said this last year, look happened.
If he was ready for them, but we ain't.
That's what I was going to say. We said this last year because we got them in the early stages last year, didn't we? The first few games, Luke went there, didn't even put up a fight. This is the thing. I'm all about not getting battered against going to City or Chelsea like the 6-0, 6-3s or whatever. I'm all for not having seen that. But I want to see us go from it. At least push. No, when we play them, just go there and give them make them work for their points, no matter if it's a point or 3.
Oh, this is it. You know, not being over even the game against Chelsea, we ended up giving them a goal, didn't we? We know we do make mistakes, so we'll have to wait and see.
But Bellerin comes on and gives them a goal. Yeah, literally. His sister. He thought Tammy was playing for Arsenal already. Put that pass, but it's
yeah, he certainly did.
It's frustrating. And going back to your question of when the last time we were ready, it was under Dames of David Dean. And since he's sort of gone, it's certainly gradually gone to this. We under David Dean, from what I can remember, we're never in this situation.
I think you're right. I can't remember the last. You know what I mean? Like, you're probably right. It was David Dean. That was probably at our best, not at our best, but yeah, like we go on and, you know, that's when we won titles and things like that. You know what I mean? I don't think we've ever been ready for a pre-season.
No, pre-season's always been a bit dodgy, even in the sense of results and all that. But it was always used as you said, at the just getting our fitness, getting back to the way of things and all that. Really, full match day 1, and 9 times out of 10 we were ready. With Everton at home and the opening day of the 03-04 season, we were ready. Fully fit and up and ready to go.
Or if not ready, near enough. You know what I mean? Like at the end of the day, you know. But certainly at this moment in time, we're not. You know.
2001, 2002, away to Middlesbrough. Dodgy pre-season, but come to season itself, match day 1, took Middlesbrough to the sword. Obviously, in the following game was against Leeds and some bad luck, but even then, it wasn't the worst performance. We dusted ourselves down and we went again. We went on a massive run. We don't even do that anymore. I mean, I can't remember the last time when a rival.
We can't get 5 wins together on the spin.
Yeah,
you know. So and ultimately, that's what you need to do straight away. You know, but listen, at the end of the day, Ryan, we can only speculate at this moment in time. It's a bit doom and gloom because I think, you know, if I'll be honest, you know, after the season of last season, I felt that we needed a little bit of a pick-me-up with some big signings.
We've got a
couple of good signings, but we've got nothing that's really exciting me to say that Arsenal can do anything. And this, you know, we've got to hope that we can get through this game on Friday, and then hopefully maybe sign a couple of players, which will give us a big boost. And that's what we've got to do. And that's all we can hope for as fans. That's all we can hope for. And if it doesn't happen, then we just got to get behind the team and try and push them on. But it's going to be a tough task.
Yeah, as I said, I think because another thing that's going to be difficult for us on Friday is it's new team promoted, but it's the full capacity for the first time in a brand new stadium. The fans are going to be up for it. First Premier League game of their lifetime and all that. It's going to be hostile, but again,
listen, I'll just say something about that. It's a load of crap, right? And I'll tell you why it's a load of crap. Because Arsenal will be playing for the first time at the Emirates for the first time in so long. Every single fan's going to be up for it, right? But everybody's saying that Chelsea are going to win. So I don't buy into that.
The reason
you will beat them.
The reason I say that with Brentford, because obviously there's just been the fans themselves will be bouncing. That's what I'm saying. The fans themselves will be bounced because it's their first ever Premier League game and it's a full capacity. They'll be able to get beyond. Actually, instead of being at home like we have all been for the last 17, 18 months, they'll actually be able to be there and make it hostile for us. And with our players.
If me and you go and play right against the Arsenal with 50,000 fans behind us, right, we still wouldn't win the game because we're not good enough to win the game. So I'm not having that as an excuse or anything.
No, not an excuse.
That is it. You know what I mean? I'm fed up with hearing that. You know what I mean? Brentford got their own fans and all that. But then the next week, 50, 60,000 in fans against Chelsea. It won't make an iota of a difference.
Yeah, I wasn't using it as an excuse. I was just saying that literally going to be their first.
I know, but that's the club itself. That's what people say after we lose to them. If we lose to them, they say that. That's what they're saying.
If they do, I'll be muting them on Twitter. Trust me, because I can't be dealing with that bollocks. Jesus Christ! But give you before we get that thing. I'll give you a score. Give me a score prediction for Friday night.
With all the doom and gloom, I think Arsenal will nick it 2-1.
I think 2-1 as well. That's I think if we win it, we'd be 2-1. Yeah, literally. I think it'd be. Birmingham might actually turn up. This is the thing.
Listen, we've still got good players. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, we've still got better players than Brentford, and that is the ultimate thing. If they turn up and perform, then we should be okay.
Arteta has to get the starting 11 right, though. He can't do it. If Xhaka and Elneny are starting, they're in trouble.
Choice of his, you know what I mean? He's got a couple of difficult choices. The midfield picks itself. The centre halves pick itself. The left back picks himself. The goalkeeper does. He's got to make a decision at right back, which you know what I mean. He shouldn't be making, but he's put himself in that position, and he's got to choose 3 forwards out of 4 or 5 when the 3 are not banging in goals. Pepe, Lacazette, and Aubameyang don't look like they've got a goal in them at this moment in time.
You know what? I'd actually start Martinelli on Friday night because people can't actually say, well, he's got self-isolate because he literally came back after the weekend on Monday. Was it Monday or Tuesday? He's back in training. He's back in training. But I'm saying I would. But this is what I'm doing. It's logical. I'm not Arteta. The thing is, we know he's got to force Aubameyang and Arteta. But the thing is, Aubameyang and Arteta hasn't worked since Emery, that first season under Emery.
Well,
but,
you know,
even then,
theories on Aubameyang, but we'll leave that for another day.
Yeah, because we do have to wrap up getting cut it fine. But yeah, where can people find it? And obviously, want to promote your new channel and all that. You joined the Madhouse of Arsenal fan channels.
I joined the Madhouse. Lee Judges TV. We're doing all sorts of different things. It's not just Arsenal related, but obviously it makes a lot of Arsenal based because we're all Arsenal fans. But we've got different shows coming out and different little things that we're doing, which we're just mixing it up a little bit. It's all going to be all different stuff. And so if you've not subscribed yet, please do.
Yeah, and the link is in the description as well for that.
Lovely, thank you much, Ron.
Yeah, no problem. Also, there's a link in the description for what I'll be doing. As I said, I'll be doing later. I'll be over on Mike's on the Gooners podcast around 11 till 1 in the morning UK time. Taking part in a quiz. Obviously, it's part of a 24-hour stream that he's doing for his charity, Cancer Gooners versus Cancer. There's a link in the description to take you directly to donate. If you can, please go and do that. It'd be massive help. And obviously come over and join us later on and have a bit of a laugh as well. And because he's doing the 24 hours, obviously he's had Adam Smith on already. He's got Dixon coming, Kevin Campbell, Perry Groves. He's got a few of the ex-Arsenal players. Obviously, I think yourself and Tom and all the hybrid squad and everyone booked over for the next 24 hours till 7 p.m. tomorrow UK time. So, but yeah, it's for a good cause and it all comes from a good place as well. But yeah, I mean, thanks for Lee for coming on. Obviously, giving me a bit of time because I know you've been busy this week.
Yeah, I've had a busy few weeks, but like I'll always try and make a bit of time for you, mate.
You know, ways, and obviously once everything's back to normal and all that, we're just going to sort the quizzes out to, as in get Mark back over the quiz, and get you back on for that as well. You missed a few.
I've done one for a while, so I'll have to get on it.
Yeah, I think the last one you did was when we had Tom Canton from Laguna talk, and literally were having problems with Mike, and you just went off on a fucking massive rant, basically.
Yeah, it's good.
Oh dear, but we'll have a bit of fun. But yeah, as I said, all the links are in the description. Go and follow them. There's also an FPL link as well to join the fantasy league we've created. And yeah, we'll be back tomorrow for a preview with the guys for the Brentford game and then the watch song on Friday, and then go from there, basically. And until then, guys, as always, up the Arsenal. Come on, you Gunners.